Hey, basketball coaches and basketball players, today I'm going to talk to you about the read and react basketball offense. Now, this is an offense that has grown on me over the past couple of years. I'm incorporating it more and more into my videos, and I thought, well, I better just break this stuff down for all the coaches who may have never have heard of read and react basketball offense. So first off, what is read and react basketball offense? Read and react basketball offense is when you are an offensive player and you are reading the defense to see what they are doing so that you can react and help you or your teammates score. So, some of the easier concepts of read and react basketball offense is very simple. And that is, if you see that your player is playing help defense and he is watching you as well as watching the ball, and then at the same time he leaves his eyesight from you and he starts really only watching the player because that player may be driving towards the rim, what can you do as a player? Well, the easiest thing to do is to cut baseline, because if he starts stepping up to guard that player who's driving towards the basket and he's not paying attention to you anymore along the wing, you could stay out in the wing and say, hey, pass the ball, I can jack that three. Of course you could. However, an easy way to get a basket is to cut baseline. Closer baskets are always the easiest ones to make. And then when you're cutting baseline, that player who's driving towards the rim could dish off the ball along the baseline to you, and you could just go in for a nice reverse or a nice dunk as well. Now, another option for you when you're running read and react basketball offense is to know that you should never be in one spot for more than 2 or 3 seconds. So whether you're playing a 4-out motion or a 5-out motion or whatever it may be, motions will essentially help you run a read and react style offense. But by reading the defense, by knowing, hey, I haven't moved for 2 or 3 seconds. They're doing like pass and cut over there. Us two haven't done anything. Maybe if I set a screen, or maybe he sets a pin down screen for me and I can pop up and we can run some kind of an offense while they're still running screens and stuff on the other side so that maybe one of us will be open. Let me give you an example of that really quickly on the clipboard. So let's say we have player 1 who passes and then he goes and screens for player 4. Player 4 uses that screen and then player 1 cuts towards the basket. Let's say they didn't switch, that it was covered really well. And then inherently, we would have player 3 who would fill that position, and then player 1 would pop out. However, what we could have instead is we could have player 1 screen away. He could read this, by the way. Player 4 could pass to player 3. Player 2 could then cut baseline. Player 3 would have a couple of different decisions because now he may have player 2 open. He may have player 4 also cutting towards the basket, in which case player 2 would be trying to recover. He wouldn't know who to cover. And then at that point, player 3 could make a couple of different decisions. Now, at the same time, we could have that totally covered very well. And then we could have, instead, player 5 setting a pin down screen for player 1. Instead of player 5 filling this spot like he should be, he could set a screen down for player 1 who could then fill that position, and now player 1 could have a shot. And then, if that's covered well, player 5 could stay there so that now player 4 may have an option to be open for a 3. And because player 3 passed the ball off, he has to either pass and cut, pass and screen for, or pass and screen away. And now, player 3 could be cutting towards the rim. We could do a nice, quick screen for player 3, and he could be popping out. Like this, you just basically keep on going. And there's a basic offense that you could run, which is the 5-out pass and cut, pass and screen away, or pass and screen for. And then have all the other players saying, hey, I've been in this spot for too long. I need to go screen for somebody. And then it just keeps on working. And literally, you're running an offense that is reading the defense, knowing what the defense is doing, also reading what the offensive players are doing on your team, and then reacting and doing something for the better overall good of the team. This doesn't just teach players how to run an offense. This is teaching players how to really be great teammates, how to run off ball. So many players have forgotten. Like when I grew up, we watched like Rich Hamilton, or however you want to call his name, from Detroit. He was a fantastic player who would play off ball. This is the type of offense that's going to help your players learn how to play off ball so that they can get themselves open for baskets or they can get other players open for baskets. There's so many players right now who are out there who are looking just to create baskets for themselves. However, something that a lot of coaches do look at when they're looking to recruit players is to see how you're working within a team atmosphere. Are you out there trying to create baskets just for yourself, or are you actually trying to create baskets for your teammates? Now, I just finished a highlight tape very recently for a player, and he was a very good player. He was only getting maybe 10 to 15 points a game. However, he was setting up his whole team to score. And this wasn't just on the coach's side. This was in his own mindset. Hey, if I go and screen away for somebody, they could, there's so many different options. If we're running a horns and we've finished our set and now we're stuck and we don't know what to do, there's so many teams who will just sit there and say, let's just run a screen and roll and see what happens. Because we see that in the NBA. Let's not lie. We see that stuff in the NBA. However, if you've got a team who says, we just finished the horns, let's get into our 5-out motion or our 4-out motion, and let's maybe run something. We've got 5 or 10 seconds left on the shot clock. We need to now run something quick. Maybe we can go and set a pass and screen away for these 3 players, and then we can have another screen off of over here, a pin down screen or something over here, so that maybe we can, if the main option doesn't work, we'll have a secondary option who's open on the other side for a quick shot. So there's so many different options that we have as coaches with the read and react. Here are some quick read and react plays that you might like. So of course, I just showed you the 5-out pass and cut, pass and screen away, and pass and screen 4. Basically what that is when you pass, you have 3 options. You can screen 4, you can screen away, and then you can cut towards the basket. Everyone has a position on the court that they're supposed to be in, and then from there, you can run the offense. So if player 1 was to cut, player 5 would be filling, player 2 would be filling, and then player 1 would be popping out. However, remembering that read and react defense also allows us to not just fill in spaces, but we could have a pass, and then this would be, let's say, a screen away, but also we could have a pin down screen on this side. Player 1 would be getting open. We would have player 5 getting open, and now player 3 has an option to pass to player 5. Or instead, we could have had player 1 cut to the high post, especially if it's against a zone defense. And then we could have player 3 pass to that high post. And if it was a zone defense, it would be fantastic because there would be options down low. However, we could then have a shot up top. If this gets player 5 into a position where he needs to guard 2 players, we could have player 1 be wide open, player 3 might have to cut down to stop the drive and a kick out back out to player 3 for a shot. There's so many different options that your players could run through. And you could basically just run this in practice really quickly and say, hey, this is what I want to see. I want you to stand in one spot. I want to be running that 5-out motion or a 4-out motion or whatever your motion is. And I want you guys to run it, but if you're standing in one spot for more than 1, 2, or 3 seconds, it's up to you and it's up to your age of team. If it's like a 9-year-old team, you might say, hey, in 3 seconds, you need to move. You can't stand there for more than 3 seconds. Go and screen for somebody. Have communication. Go like this to look at a player and say like this, and that means that you're setting a screen for them or whatever it may be. And then when they get older to the high school age, say, these are the spots. However, I don't want you to stay in one spot for more than 1 second. Get there, show. Nothing, move. Keep on going. And then run it through practice, literally, for like 30 minutes. And to do that 2 or 3 practices in a row, and then to run that in-game, you're going to have so many opportunities. And yes, you can run a 5-out against a zone by running this type of strategy. You really only need 1 or 2 set plays and then a motion or maybe 2 motions and 1 or 2 set plays, and you're pretty well set for the season at the high school level if you run a read and react offense. Now, if you're looking for a really killer defense, go check out my unbeatable basketball defense in the link in the description below, as well as the perimeter basketball defense. Unbeatable defense gives you a double team from the free throw line and below, while the perimeter basketball defense gives you a double team from the free throw line and above. And of course, nobody is left open. I hope that you've enjoyed. Go check out those books if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys in my next video.